A single wave can carry more than just water, it can carry pollen, and the tiniest ocean dwellers are the secret couriers. From the sand-skipping crabs to the colossal whales, each creature plays a role you've never imagined, and number one is something almost nobody guesses. Stay tuned until the very end. Imagine a tiny sandhopper scuttling across the shoreline, its legs brushing the tips of seagrass blades and unintentionally gathering pollen grains. These minute crustaceans, often overlooked, move between plants as they forage for detritus, inadvertently transferring pollen from one flower to another. Researchers have observed that sandhoppers can carry pollen on their exoskeletons for several meters before it settles, providing a crucial link in the reproductive chain of shallow-water seagrass species. Their role may seem modest, but in dense meadows the cumulative effect becomes significant, enhancing genetic diversity across the bed. Keep watching for Rank 9, where a slow-moving mollusk takes the spotlight.
Surprisingly, the common sea snail, often seen grazing on algae, doubles as a pollen carrier in the underwater world. As whelks glide over kelp fronds, a thin layer of mucus adheres to their shells, trapping pollen grains released during spawning events. Studies suggest that these snails can transport pollen across surprisingly long distances, especially during tidal flows that carry them to new kelp stands. Their slow, deliberate movements ensure that pollen remains viable long enough to reach receptive plant tissues. This unassuming gastropod thus becomes an essential conduit for kelp reproduction, especially in areas where water currents are weak. Up next, Rank 8 reveals a majestic filter feeder that brushes against entire seagrass meadows.
Hidden in the graceful arcs of a manta ray's wings is a surprising pollination service. As these giants glide just above seagrass meadows, their expansive pectoral fins sweep across countless blades, picking up and depositing pollen grains in their wake. Researchers have documented that the sheer surface area of a manta's fins can move more pollen than dozens of smaller creatures combined, especially during feeding dives, when they hover close to the seafloor. Their regular migrations across coastal reefs mean they connect distant plant populations, fostering genetic exchange. Though they are celebrated for their elegance, their role as marine pollinators is equally impressive. Coming up, Rank 7 showcases a colorful fish that munches its way through algae while spreading pollen inadvertently.
Fascinatingly, the vibrant parrotfish, known for its coral scraping diet, also acts as a mobile pollen distributor. While grazing on algae that coat coral and seagrass, the fish's mouthparts collect pollen particles, which later fall off as it swims to new feeding grounds. This accidental transfer is especially vital in reef-adjacent seagrass beds where currents are minimal. Scientists have noted that parrotfish can move pollen across several hundred meters during a single foraging bout, effectively linking isolated patches of flowering marine plants. Their contribution underscores how even herbivorous fish can influence plant reproductive success. Next, Rank 6 reveals a gentle reptile whose leisurely meals spread pollen across vast underwater gardens.
Remarkably, the green sea turtle, a serene grazer of expansive seagrass meadows, plays a pivotal role in pollen transport. As turtles munch on leaf blades, pollen adheres to their smooth shells and flippers, hitching a ride to distant sections of the meadow. Their massive size and extensive migration routes mean that a single turtle can carry pollen across kilometers, linking far-flung plant populations that would otherwise remain isolated. Tagging studies have shown that turtles often revisit the same feeding grounds, repeatedly depositing fresh pollen and boosting seed set rates. Their gentle presence thus sustains the health of coastal ecosystems. Stay tuned for Rank 5, where a fierce crustacean surprisingly aids pollination.
Unlikely as it sounds, the Mantis Shrimp, famed for its powerful strike, also contributes to marine pollination. While navigating coral reefs, these vibrant crustaceans brush against flowering algae, picking up pollen on their spiny appendages. Their rapid, erratic movements disperse pollen over short distances, but in dense reef environments this can be enough to fertilize neighboring plants. Moreover, the shrimp's habit of excavating burrows stir sediment, creating microcurrents that help pollen settle onto receptive surfaces. Though their primary claim to fame is predation, their side role in plant reproduction adds another layer to reef biodiversity. Up next, Rank 4 introduces a playful mammal whose splash spreads pollen far and wide.
Incredible as it may seem, bottlenose dolphins, with their acrobatic leaps, inadvertently aid pollination of kelp forests. As dolphins surf the water's surface and dive near kelp canopies, droplets of seawater splash onto kelp fronds, carrying pollen particles from one area to another. Their frequent presence near coastal kelp beds, especially during feeding frenzies, creates localized turbulence that enhances pollen dispersal. Observational data suggest that dolphin activity correlates with higher fertilization rates in nearby kelp patches, likely due to the increased mixing of water columns. These intelligent mammals, therefore, contribute to the health of kelp ecosystems beyond their well-known ecological roles. Coming up, Rank 3 reveals a marine mammal that uses kelp as a tool, spreading spores in the process.
Believe it or not, sea otters, the playful custodians of kelp forests, help fertilize these underwater giants. While floating on their backs, otters often use kelp strands as anchor points, wrapping themselves to avoid drifting away. In doing so, they brush against kelp fronds, picking up pollen and spores on their fur. When they later detach and swim to new areas, they release these particles, effectively sowing new growth. Their foraging habits also stir the water, promoting further pollen movement. Researchers have noted that regions with high otter activity exhibit denser kelp stands, underscoring the otter's indirect yet vital role in plant reproduction. Finally, Rank 2 showcases a humble sea cucumber whose slow crawl spreads pollen across the ocean floor.
Deep beneath the waves, the sea cucumber performs a quiet pollination service. As it ambles across the seabed, its soft body contacts flowering algae and seagrass, collecting pollen on its leathery skin. Periodically, the cucumber contracts, expelling water and any attached pollen into surrounding currents. This gentle ejection can transport pollen meters away, reaching plants that rely on passive dispersal. Though often overlooked, their constant movement across the benthic landscape ensures a steady flow of genetic material, especially in low-current zones where other pollinators are scarce. Their unassuming presence thus supports the continuity of marine plant communities. Up next, Rank 1 reveals the ultimate pollinator of the seas, a colossal creature whose migrations reshape entire ecosystems.
Finally, the humpback whale stands as the ocean's most monumental pollinator. During their epic migrations, these giants traverse thousands of kilometers, stirring massive water columns with each powerful tail flick. Their sheer size creates turbulent upwellings that lift pollen from deep-sea flowering algae to surface layers, where it can settle on distant seagrass beds and kelp forests. Moreover, when whales breach or surface, droplets of nutrient-rich water splash onto floating plant structures, delivering both pollen and essential minerals. Scientists estimate that a single whale's movement can influence fertilization patterns across entire coastal regions, linking ecosystems that would otherwise remain isolated. This awe-inspiring role highlights how the biggest animals can also be the most vital gardeners of the deep.
What a journey through the hidden choreography of the ocean. We've seen how humble sandhoppers, graceful manta rays, and even massive whales each whisper pollen through the currents, sustaining the forests beneath the waves. If you loved uncovering these silent pollinators, hit like and subscribe so you never miss the next awe-inspiring list. Fresh discoveries every week. Which marine pollinator left you most astonished? Share your thoughts below. I can't wait to read them. Thanks for watching, and keep marveling at the wonders of the deep.